Hey there, Dr. Brian here on Wednesday, the 14th, I believe. And it looks like it's nearly full moon. It's quite chilly outside. And so the thought I have for you today is the value of regular movement. Now, it's a fabulous paradox that we've actually created so much leisure by mechanizing so many mundane tasks. We've actually created a situation now where we have to go out and deliberately create movement because we've taken so much of the movement away with our leisured mechanized existence. I see squadrons of parents dropping children at buses so they can get out of the car and into the bus with a minimum of movement, parents picking children up from buses or whatever, walk across the road from school, and then that continues through our whole life. So, we paradoxically often the most activity a lot of people have is when they live in the city and they're forced to walk to and from buses and trains, and sometimes or from a car park, and that could be a 10 or 15 minute walk, and then there's often walking up and down stairs. Quite often there's lifts in buildings, but sometimes there's internal stairs between floors, which are great exercise. And you then move out of the city and move to, say, as I live out of the city in, I wouldn't say a rural, but a non-metropolitan area. And you can park at the front door, and people get really upset when they have to walk a few hundred metres because this is just terrible. And yet, when they lived in the city, if you got a park that was 100 metres away, you were pretty excited about how lucky you were. So and I remember living in Bondi Beach and at Mossman on the North Shore, and if you went out on Saturday when you came back, because they were beach suburbs, sometimes you couldn't park almost within a kilometre of home because all the street parking was taken by people coming to the beach. So I think that we need to be aware that the body is designed to move. There's huge benefits for you, for how your body works and for the physiology with movement. When you move, you're moving bones, you're moving joints. Now the brain gets a vast amount of healthy stimulation from the movement of the spine through moving. So it pumps cerebrospinal fluid as a result of moving, which is critical for brain health. And also you're getting proprioceptive information from all joints back to the brain. That's actually quite important to keep, if you like, active tone or background tone in the brain so that it actually knows where it is in space, and it's actually getting this constant appropriate input from healthy joints. Now, irritated joints send a lot of error messages, and they have been shown to be a factor in creating anxiety and stress, because it's like trying to listen to someone whispering inside a noisy pub. There's so much background information, noise from all of the irritated joints, that all the other processes now result in a sense of overflow or overwhelm. So the benefit of having a greatly aligned posture is that you actually feel better all the time. So what are the benefits of an adjustment? I don't know if I can list them. There are too many. The more we know, the more we know. The less you know, the less you think it's important. And weirdly, we often ask a non-expert, does an adjustment work? So you ask a surgeon or you ask a general practitioner, and they would no more know about that, although it should be part of their knowledge base. It's not. And it's a bit like asking, say a chef about butchery. He uses meat, but he doesn't actually know how to be a butcher because that's a specialty area. And if they were any good, they'd say, you'll need to check with a butcher. I can't tell you. So I can tell you that what we do and the data we collect, there is an undeniable value in balanced structure and happy joints. And we know that when that's the case, the body works better because the allocation of resources is more just better. The body's not wasting energy moving laboriously, is not getting a lot of error messages from joints, and it's actually now got resources left over for better functioning of the body. Roger Sperry's research in the 1980s showed that bodies out of postural balance consumed vast amounts of neurological energy in maintaining stability and gravity. So that's now not a hot topic of focus. There's other things that are more the topic of the moment. And like, supplements that go in and out of fashion, turmeric's just the thing. When I was, in my 30s and 20s, it was, wheatgrass in the 90s or 2000s, and then it was spirulina 10 or 15 years before that, and things go through fads. They're all very valuable, but we stop taking spirulina and start taking something else, and in point of fact they have a very similar function, slightly different pathways. So everything has a place. There's few things that actually do everything. There are a few things that do everything, and structure governs function, and chiropractic is one of the weird and amazing things that does a startling amount of good in the body, because it creates a fundamental balance in the body's platform that gives it the ability to do more things effortlessly. It's like blowing up all the tyres and then wondering why the car uses less fuel and it handles properly. It's really basic, and if you don't know any better, you just think it's not working properly, and you come back from the service and they've rebalanced all the tyre pressures, and you wonder why the car drives so well. You can't understand it. So knowing the mechanism and knowing the why doesn't actually make it happen. I was contemplating this the other day, that often there are experts in, say, the area of medicine that believe that what we do is irrelevant and has no benefit. Partly because some of the pathways and method, if you like, the pathway of how it works in the body isn't properly understood. But not understanding quantum physics doesn't actually stop it from working. There are areas of physics and even like building design and geometry that some individuals are very happy to walk across the bridge not remotely understanding how it manages to stay up or what the physics of it are, but they just know that somebody else is on top of it and it works because it works. The why it works isn't necessarily an integral part of the use of the bridge. And it's a bit like what we do. No, it works. How it works is probably quite basic. It's not really quite as clever as we'd like to think it is. And that means that its value is still there, and a clever and good practitioner gets remarkable results because they are more in tune with what the body needs and are able to read the body because it's sort of talking in code. And then if you can understand the body's code and break it, crack the code of the body that's in front of you, then you'll get really excellent results, because the body is within its own logic, and if you understand that body's logic frame, then what you do makes sense to the body and it works really well. So I'll post links into these chats at later dates that actually will give you an opportunity to get more information. I'm just putting a suite of information products online that will allow you to learn more about your body, which is an extraordinary and amazing piece of engineering. And it is so complex. It's a bit like the weather system. We think we understand it, but there are so many moving parts. And the weather system and actually our bodies are analogous. There are so many moving parts. They counteract each other, they compensate for each other, but there are certain patterns that actually are so complex that you think you understand it, but actually we really are just watching. We're watching what's happening without really properly understanding what we're looking at. That doesn't mean it's magical. It doesn't mean that it's not something we can use, but thinking that we have to know how it works before we can use it would actually delay half the things we use in life, personally and as a culture. Most of us don't understand most of the technology we use, but that doesn't stop us getting the benefit of your iPhone. How it works, you think you know, but actually if you hit it with a hammer, you'd have no idea what the 4 bits that fell out did. Okay, you have a great day and I will speak to you soon. All the best. Bye.